Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Mark Sephton of Mikesefton.com. Mark, it's awesome to have you on the show.
It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. I'm looking forward to it as well. And what I want to do is just read a little bit more about Mark so you can hear about all the awesome things that he's doing. And Mark is an international mentor to entrepreneurs, an acclaimed radio and TV show host, and a top-selling author. Mark is a regular contributor to Entrepreneur Magazine and speaks all over the world. Mark, are you ready to speak to the I Am CEO community?
Born ready.
All right, let's do it. No better ready to be. So to kick everything off, I wanted to hear what I call your CEO story and what led you to start your business.
Well, I think, I'm a big believer that your gifting makes room for you. So I think some of the keys to success and establishing yourself in this thing called life is really just focusing on, I think, the natural things that you were given. And then we all have a responsibility to take what we've been given and get the best out of them. And so a lot of my story is around, I think, just the revelation of what I had in my hand and then being faithful with that. And I guess over circumstance and situation, and then a keen eye to develop the gifts that I have within me, I guess, in a short kind of storytelling way. That's kind of how it happened for me. My background was actually retail and hospitality, which is obviously lots of people facing, lots of experience, memory creating a theater experience. And I think just my love for people and developing, my love for problem solving and thinking outside the box kind of really frameworked my ability to then work, with entrepreneurs through my own understanding of business, through my grandparents who were very entrepreneurial, that kind of really shined the light on what that really means. And really the essence of any business or entrepreneurship is as simple as solving a problem. And people say to me all the time, how do you make £1 million or $1 million? In some ways it's simple. You just got to find a solution that affects 1 million people. And there you've got it, but often we create something that provides a solution to a few hundred or a few thousand. But when you crack something that actually provides a solution that affects a lot of people, that's when it's scalable.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I love you for telling that, part of the story and about, how you got started. I find, and you might find the exact same thing, especially being a mentor, that a lot of times people have, or I guess there's noise around us that doesn't allow us to actually tap into what our innate abilities are, what our gifts are, even what that, £1 million opportunity might be. Sometimes we're looking at so many different other things that get distracted.
Yeah, I guess I'll share a couple of things of how I guess that it's helped me that would be helpful for the audience. I mean, the first thing is that I have this thing called Mark Monday, which is every Monday I kind of just take time for me. So I don't schedule client calls or mentoring sessions. I just take this time to read, reflect, to journal, to search my heart, to take regular readings of what it is that I want my life to represent. So that would be one part of a thought where people need to take regular time just to be. So that's something that we can all do in varying degrees. And then the other part, which I talk about all the time, which I call my free filters. And I call them my keys to the kingdom. So I use these free filters before I make a choice or a decision, and people can use these 3 filters themselves or they can create their own. The main thing is to have something that you're conscious about, and every opportunity, friendship, connection, project, you push them through your filters and then you decide on whether they're worth, you doing. So my 3 filters are simple. First one is, does this excite me? So, is it a relationship? Is it a friendship? Is it a project? Is it a business? Is it working with a client? Does this excite me? And if it does, then I proceed to my next question, my next filter, which is, am I good at this? I don't prescribe to the fake it to the make it. I'm a big believer in knowing who you are, accepting who you are and what you're good at, and being a master of it and forgetting the rest. And then the third one is, will this take me to where I want to go? So I guess one of the things that I really help clients with is really focus in on what is it that they want their life to represent. Get that as clear as you can. What is it that you want people to remember you for? And then work backwards and then make decisions based on Does this excite me? Does this play to my strengths? And will this take me to where I want to go? If you do those things, then actually you'll start being, the driver of your life rather than, just a passenger. And I
Mhm.
think that's the greatest opportunity that we'll have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you for sharing that with us, because a lot of times you can get lost in the noise, or just, as you say, being a passenger, you don't realize that you do have control if you're able to, first of all, determine what the answers are to a lot of those questions that you have, those filters, and then also starting to implement that. So I wanted to ask you I know you touched on this a little bit, for exactly like, how do you serve the clients that you work with? I know you have a couple things that you're doing, and then also what you feel is kind of like your secret sauce and what makes you unique.
Yeah, I guess probably we'll tip into both of those questions with this answer.
Hmm.
I believe in the power of reflection. So, after working with entrepreneurs for 3 years and reflecting on what are the conversations that I was having, what are the points of pain, what are the opportunities, where is the highest level of energy being manifest? And there was some common denominators, and I noticed there were 10 kind of fundamentals that represented a person's basic DNA. It doesn't really matter whether you're an entrepreneur or not. It's the same sort of 10 fundamentals that make a person a human being. And so what I did is I decided to create something that measured the health of each fundamental for every person I worked with. And what this would do is it would reveal blind spots, efficiencies, and deficiencies. It would look at your actions, your behaviors, your beliefs, and then it's through those findings that I was able to then tailor, make sessions in relation to what it is that the client really needs. So I'm not someone who takes all my clients down the same path, because what may be an opportunity for you isn't an opportunity for somebody else. We're all beautifully and fearfully made. We're all unique. We all have our place. We all have a whole set of talents that really are to serve those around us as well as serve ourselves. And so for me, in terms of how I work, I'm not interested in making people into Mikesefton. I'm really interested in making people into themselves to really maximize their opportunity, but not just to make a load of money, but also to actually do good with their influence, do good with their money, and really, I guess, shine a light forward, in terms of how we should live. Where are all the influential people? What are they doing for good? We need more and more men and women to stand up and take their wealth, their experience, their influence, and really educate and help this world, because, it is tough out there, and as much as there's good, there's also bad, and we've got to keep doing our thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of times, sometimes we forget, and I'm glad you definitely reminded us of that, because by being true to yourself and playing to your strengths, and walking in your light, and, driving, as we talked about before, you also are empowering people. So by you being, and helping support those entrepreneurs and business owners, that definitely helps out a ton. But also, just by you doing and being true to yourself, I think that also is kind of like a great reminder for all of us to let our light shine as well.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I love people. I love business. I love providing, solutions to problems.
Hmm.
Everything for me is about how we conduct ourselves and how we are an expression of our beliefs. Our beliefs determine our behavior. So what we believe, then we act out of. And I like, to work with people who want to be more conscious and more intentional, and not just be all about their own agenda, but about really benefiting the community and the people that are closest to them, as well as, creating your own economy, which I think is one of the most exciting things about entrepreneurship. We live in such a volatile system where most of our governments are shot to pieces, and the economy is, so volatile, and the great thing about entrepreneurship is creating your own economy. So it doesn't matter what's going on or who's leading the country as such, because you've created something where you kind of you feed yourself, and then what a privilege it is to help other people feed from that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So definitely, privileged to be able to do that. And thank you for doing your part in that as well. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask you for what I call a CEO hack. And this is an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but it's something that makes you more effective and efficient.
Right. Okay. I mean, I've shared a few things in terms of, taking time out, like Mark Monday. I believe the power of reflection is one of the keys to personal growth.
Hmm.
I think it's your ability to be teachable, and to take those regular times to be critiqued as well. I always find it interesting being critiqued. Um, that takes trust, and some people, they throw a load of stuff at you because they're jealous and actually because they want to hurt you, and
Yeah.
then the other people actually want to see you grow, and keep you accountable. I think for me, one of the strengths that I have, and I really believe in, is having somebody who I really just discuss, my challenges and opportunities with on a weekly basis. Having someone that I can really be real with, who can get in my face, who can challenge me. We all need somebody who will stroke us and also whack us with a stick. When I was in employment, my best managers and my best teachers were always those ones that told me what I needed to hear, not what I wanted to hear. It was that ability to say, Mark, I believe in you. And also somebody to say, Matt, you missed it, you're an idiot, and I think, for me, that's one of the keys. While we live in such a technology driven world, and as good as there are apps, books and everything, I still think for me, the biggest investment is investing in someone who you can really sharpen yourself with, somebody who will test you, but has your best interests at heart, someone who's on your level, and that takes time to find somebody like that. But once you do, that's where I really feel like you have leverage, because even by our own admission, we're probably our own worst critics. And sometimes we're actually a little too hard on ourselves. And other times we may be a little too, soft on ourselves. Having someone who has the license to say it as it is, for me, is probably the one thing that's really kept me moving forward. Added to that, I have, two mentors, because I believe in mentoring. I believe that if I'm going to give the best that I can to my clients, then I need to continually be developing and stretched and challenged and educated. I'm certainly not somebody who thinks they've arrived. I'm constantly learning and failing and becoming wiser. And then as soon as I think I'm wise, I get humbled, and then, you just keep going.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I love those kind of hacks and nuggets, because a lot of times you need those certain things and that advice and that environment so that you can be successful. And just like you said, you have people that are on one side of the paradigm where they want to see you not succeed, and those that, just don't know how maybe to help you to succeed. So being able to surround yourself with the right people is definitely big. So now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on this show. So Mark, I wanted to ask you, what does being a CEO mean to you?
It's a good question, because it's not one that I've been asked before. So I always kind of like to be asked something that I've never been asked, because then I literally have nowhere to go other than speak from my heart, which I always think the best answers are always from the heart. They're not premeditated. They're just real and raw. And, I may answer this 5 different ways, over 5 different days if you were to ask me. I mean, when you think of CEO, you're thinking of someone who's really like the leader and the pinnacle of what they're about and what they're leading. So for me, it's very much being a CEO is someone who, is leading by example, who doesn't just talk the talk. Often, we have this misconception of leadership being, about all the fame and the spotlight and the prestige. And while there can be some of that, and we all want that when things are going well, but when things aren't, we probably want to hide away. But I think being a CEO is somebody who, lives a life of leadership, that it isn't just talk, but it is a way of life. It guides and it navigates others. It pushes other people forward, even to the detriment of our own progression. I can remember when I worked. I was working at Warwick Castle, which was one of the greatest. Well, it is. It's one of the greatest medieval castles in the UK. And I
Mhm.
remember we had like our definition of like the BAFTAs, or the Brit Awards, and they literally created these awards, kind of similar. It's funny, and they had all these different awards for different recognition. And the guy that was working for me, He was a supervisor within my team, and he got nominated for an award. And I was a little bit disappointed because I didn't get nominated for an award. And anybody who knows me, I wear my heart on my sleeve. So what you see is what you get. You kind of know when I'm happy and you know when I'm sad. And during these awards, when they read out the nominations, my boss caught my face, and he could see that I was absolutely gutted that I wasn't nominated, you know. And but the guy that worked for me under me was. And he actually went on to win it, and I was really happy for him, but I was also disappointed for myself.
Mm-hmm.
My boss pulled me to one side, you know, and he said, you know, Mark, he said, I could tell that you're disappointed. He said, but actually, you should be really happy because the person who works under your leadership is the one that won, you know. And so for me, that says more about your leadership style than it does actually about you winning it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a real kind of like poignant like moment for me. I mean, fundamentally now, I live a lifestyle where I absolutely love seeing those around me succeed. You know, I get such a kick out of seeing people do amazing things. It doesn't make me feel insecure. It doesn't make me feel jealous. I get such a kick out of seeing people do well. And I think, you know, a big part of leadership is having the maturity to realize that it isn't about you, but it's about those around you, you know. And, you know, we get tired of people saying, no, I'm a leader. You know, if you're a leader, then people will follow you. You don't even have to say it. It's kind of like comes with how you live, you know. And so I think that's really important. I guess that's kind of like my definition of a CEO.
I love that definition, and that definition from the heart was definitely spot on, because a lot of times your people's success is a reflection upon your success as well. So it's like you both kind of were up there on stage winning. So congratulations to you as well, if nobody said that. But I definitely appreciate your time. What I wanted to do is pass you the mic just to see if there's anything additional you want to let our readers and listeners know. And then, of course, how best they can get a hold of you, find out about everything you're doing, and, of course, get a copy of your book.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love what I do. And we all only get one shot at this life. And, you know, for me, I defined that influence was my driver. So if you look at the things that I do, I write for Entrepreneur, I write books, you know, I speak on stage. I have a TV show called One More Round, which people can see on Apple TV and Roku. And then I mentor. And if you ask yourself the question, you know, can Mark influence through these mediums? The answer is yes, which is fundamentally why I'm doing it. So while they're different expressions. Some are verbal, some are obviously, you know, visual, some are more hands-on, but they all give me the opportunity to influence. So I think that's really, really important, just to, again, define what you want your life to look like, and then make decisions that express that, you know, that goal, that drive, which is influence for me. So I won't say yes to things that keep me in the shadows. I'll say yes to the things that give me influence. You know, on LinkedIn, people are constantly dangling a financial carrot. It's the wrong bait for me, at least. You know, while I have no problem with making money and I enjoy it, if you really want to get me involved, then show me something I can get involved in that will give me some influence, positively influence those around me. And then I'm really interested. You know, both my books are on Amazon. I think one of the things that actually isn't even mine, I came across it, but it just seemed to come to mind, and I think it's a really good thing to share. I think I came across it by, I think it was Daniel Priestley in his book Entrepreneur Revolution. And he shares about the Apple model, which I really like, because every business should do this, and I think this will be valuable because it's simple, but it is really valuable. So he was saying, you know, Apple, they have kind of four kind of like ways to reach their market. They have iTunes, which is free. They have an iPod, which is a small amount of money. Then they have the iPhone or the iPad, and then they have the MacBook Pro, the AirBook, whatever. So in our business, we've got to find four things that represent that model. So the first one is, what are we giving away for free? So in relation to my business, it's my YouTube videos, or it's my quotes, my Instagram posts, whatever that looks like. My equivalent of my iPod is my book. The equivalent of my iPhone or my iPad is my mastermind. And then the equivalent of my MacBook Pro or my AirBook would be my one-to-one mentoring. And so if people can framework their business on those four, I think that's a real tight way of doing business, because some people won't be prepared to go and spend the air book if they've never heard from you. So build up that relationship by, offering something that is relatable and affordable. Educate people, give people what they want, and then educate them with what they need. I think that's really key.
Absolutely. And people can find you and get in touch with you on your website.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to Mikesefton.com, though, I do need to change my whole website. Everything serves us for a while. I don't actually particularly like it. So that's something that I've got to focus my energy on moving forward. Sometimes we outgrow things, we've got to continue to reinvent ourselves, and I can't just do all the preaching. I've got to do the walking as well. So yeah, people can find me at Mikesefton.com, and it's got links to all my social media channels, both Inside Job and Plot Twist. My books are on Amazon and they're available in Kindle paperback, and Inside Job's available on Audible as well. And then you have my TV show. I don't know if we can add a link to this, but if we can, then great. But if people just put in One More Round, Mikesefton, they'll find it. But I'm open to converse, to engage, and really have enjoyed my time with you.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you, not just for your influence for this, short period of time, but all the influence that you're having as well too, helping out, all these creatives, entrepreneurs, and business owners. So, Mark, I appreciate you again. Hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
You too.